right outside. So come on in, don't be shy. We've got ghosts and UFOs. Brace yourself, get ready for the show. Don't be afraid of the dark. The fun's about to start. Nightmares or tales will inspire. Oh, tonight at the Scaredy Campfire. Have you heard tell of a demon next door? Or maybe a cryptid on the lake shore? There's nothing too strange for us here. So if you're ready, stamp out your fear. Don't be afraid of the dark. The fun's about to start. Nightmares or tales will inspire. Tonight at the Scaredy Campfire. Whoa, whoa.
Welcome campers to episode 30. 30 nights around this fire. 30 tales that dare to stare into the dark. Tonight, we journey through the thin places, the ones where memory feels wrong, where something walks in step with us though no one is there. Some stories linger long after they end, and some you never truly leave. Tonight's first story comes from Reddit user Love K, who shares an encounter that begins with ordinary laughter and ends with something that defies explanation. It's the kind of tale that creeps in quietly, where a simple night away turns into something far more sinister. You'll want to keep the lights on for this one, because some places hold memories that were never meant to be disturbed. So I'm not sure what it was in that room with us that night. Some people say a demon, some say just an angry spirit. All I know is what I felt, and that thinking of it too hard, even 10 years later, makes me feel off. And talking about it gives me goosebumps and makes me tear up. That being said, here is what happened. When I was newly 19, I went to a cheap motel with a few friends to drink and smoke some weed. It is legal here in Canada at 19 to do both, and just be teens, young adults without our parents around. The motel was the type where all of the doors of the rooms are on the outside of the building, not through an inside hallway. The office was in the middle of the building with doors to get into it on both sides of the building. Think of a rectangle building. The room run down the length of the building except for where the office is, where again had a large door on both sides of the building to get into it. So the office was the same width as the building. That's not important detail. I think I'm just trying to avoid typing the spooky stuff. The name of the hotel was Scarborough Inn. It was right beside some train tracks and has since been closed down. The first room the motel put us in was far from the office, and the Wi-Fi sucked, so I went to the office and asked for a closer one. They said they only had one room closer and they don't rent it out. I asked why, and they just said they didn't like to. I got a little insistent, and the manager said, "Okay, but if anything happens in that room, we don't give you your money back because we warned you." I kind of laughed that off. I got the key and my friends and I packed our stuff to move room. Red flag number 1. The room lock said occupied, even when it wasn't occupied. For these rooms there was a handle lock that was used when the rooms were empty, and a deadbolt you could only open from inside of the room. When the deadbolts were not locked, the front of it said vacant, and when locked, they said occupied, like a porta potty. This room, even when the deadlock unlocked, always said occupied. I pointed it out, but we didn't think anything of it. Trying to open the door was difficult, as in there was some resistance from the door to open, but we got in. I want to describe the room layout a bit. When you walked in, there was a large bay-style window to your left, 2 double beds parallel to the window. The TV and 2 small dressers and a thermostat were on the wall across from the beds, almost right in front of the door. Directly across from the door was a big mirror and double sinks, and to the left of that was the bathroom door, which was just a tub and toilet. From sitting on one bed, you could see the bathroom through the mirror if the bathroom door was open. So we all poured ourselves a drink and turned on the TV and tried to chat and have a good time. About 10 minutes after getting into the room, we all, myself and 2 other people, started feeling very anxious and paranoid. We had not smoked yet at this point. I know weed can make you paranoid, but we had not smoked, and we had all only had maybe half a drink each, so we were not drunk either. We all started feeling like someone was going to come into the room to hurt us, so paranoid and scared that we put all of our bags against the curtains so that there was no splits to look through, and moved one of the dressers in front of the room to barricade it. We sat on the beds. I could see the mirror outside of the bathroom from where I was sitting. We started talking about how we felt. All of a sudden, the TV got very loud, and while the picture was fine and it was working fine, all any of us could hear was a loud, white noise, staticky sound, like we couldn't talk over it and were holding our ears. I ended up unplugging the TV, and as I sat back down on the bed, I saw very clearly through the mirror a large shadow figure in the bathroom. I looked over at my one friend and said, "I don't think what wants to hurt us is outside. I think it's in here with us." The minute those words came out of my mouth, the bathroom door slammed, and it started getting absolutely freezing, like we could see the temperature on the thermostat going down. What's even scarier is we were all frozen, could not move, couldn't even move our necks or say anything. We all felt the exact same thing. We started to feel like something was enveloping us from the outside while filling us on the inside as well. The only way I can describe what it felt like was filling us was blackness, darkness. All of the terrible things and feelings in the world were weighing me down, but I was also sitting on them. It was the air I was breathing, and it was covering my soul. I didn't necessarily believe in souls at that time, but this changed my mind. I could feel everything good about me, everything that made me myself, the very essence of my being and my whole life force being taken over by this evil feeling darkness. I could not see anything. Like, I wasn't blind or anything, I just couldn't see what was doing this to us. Visibly nothing changed in the room, but this was happening to all 3 of us at the same time. I remember feeling scared and also feeling like there was no hope, and in just a little bit I wouldn't be here anymore, like something was consuming me from the inside out. I remember feeling like I wanted to cry. Then I felt something touch me. It felt like a hug from my grandmother who had passed when I was 9. I felt her arms around me, and I felt her touch my chest and a warm ball of light. I could feel this, and in the back of my mind see it as well. Started spreading from my chest and through my body. It was at this point where I could move again. I jumped up, tears started pouring from my eyes, and I started to shake one of my friends. He wasn't moving, his eyes were wide and he looked terrified. I kept shaking him and eventually grabbed his arm and yanked him off the bed. He started to come out of his trance a little bit, and while he seemed to still be moving slowly, he helped me move the dresser, grab our other friend and push her out of the door. She was still mostly frozen and we practically had to carry her. We went to the office. At this point I'm sobbing. He's starting to cry and she just looks shocked and is still mostly frozen, but at least standing up on her own. I told them we were checking out and asked them to call us a taxi. They did, and we left, and as we left the property, my female friend unfroze and started bawling. Me and my male friend were very scared too. He looked at me and said, "It feels like we're still there. What if we didn't really leave?" This feeling stayed with us for the next few hours. We went to my mum and told her what happened. She said we're lucky my guardian angel saved us, because if not, we may have all been consumed by whatever was in that room. I was terrified. We didn't even grab any of our bags, and we never went back to get them. Some experiences don't fade. They cling, heavy and unseen, long after the night is over. What happened within those walls was more than fear. It was a reminder that there are places where darkness doesn't need a form to exist, and once you've felt it, it never quite lets you go. Our second story comes from Reddit user ChokuXOXO, who shares a collection of experiences that blur the line between reality and something far more unsettling. These are the moments that creep in quietly, the voices that shouldn't be there, the movements caught at the edge of sight, and the strange echoes that follow through the years. Whatever these encounters were, they leave behind a question that's difficult to silence once it's been asked. This one isn't mine, it's technically my mother's. She constantly tells me of how when she was pregnant with me, she would have vivid dreams and unwanted thoughts of killing me. She explained an instance where she had a cross that sat over my crib, and one day she found it turned upside down. She's a very religious person and always has been. Whenever she talks about her experience with this, she says she thinks it's a demon, which seems likely. My mother is by no means a bad or malicious person, so obviously I think those thoughts or dreams were genuine reflection of how she felt. I felt like I need to disclose that. She's also mentioned that growing up, she would see neon green handprints on the ceiling of her childhood bedroom at night. Freaky. When I was around 5, I would hear a voice at night. It was the voice of a friendly older man, and it was a voice I did not recognize. It was always before I'd go to bed. The one instant I remember clearly was him asking about my day and explaining his. He mentioned he had kids. That's all I can really recall. I don't remember ever talking to him again after that. I had frequent visual hallucinations when I was around 9 or 10 years old. I would see figures at the foot of my bed, behind my door, and the corner of my closet. It would freak me out so much to the point where I couldn't move, so I just sat there and cried. Lol. There was another instance, maybe a year or so ago, where I was sitting in my bed and I heard a voice. It felt like it was whispering in my ear. It was really a high-pitched female voice, and it said something along the lines of, "I won't hurt you." To this day, I can't sleep without a light and sound source. Some hauntings don't live in houses. They live in memory. A whisper, a flicker, a sound too soft to place, and yet too real to forget. Whether born from mind or something darker, the presence lingers, quiet, patient, and waiting for nightfall. That concludes episode 30. Milestones mean little in the dark. It stretches endless, uncounted. What waits beyond the firelight doesn't care for numbers or names. It only waits to be noticed. Until next time, hold your breath when the air goes still. It might not be the wind moving around you.
As the night gets longer and the darkness creeps in, with the eerie silence broken only by whispering wind, come gather round the fire, the flickering flames, and hear the tales of the spooky and the strange. chill up your back, a shiver up your spine. You'll be haunted by the things that you find. Legends will unfold and stories will be told at a scary campfire for only